Hello and welcome back. This lesson will be a bit longer because it's a big concept about nesting formulas. Now think about all the formulas you've had to learn so far. Now think of them like Lego blocks. They're really good at building on one another. And that's where Excel really shines, is about building formulas on top of other formulas. Did you know you could do that? You can put formulas inside of other formulas. It's legal, no one will arrest you. Isn't that crazy? Let me show you an example of a nested formula I had to do for a dashboard project. Now this is the exact one we'll be building in this lesson. So buckle up, get ready. I'm just kidding. We're not going to be building this lesson, but we will be building a smaller one that will have 3 formulas. So we're actually going to be making this formula right here. So inside of this if formula, we have a VLOOKUP formula, and inside of that formula, we have a RAND between formula. Now, if you don't know what this one is, we'll get to that in just a minute. But you're probably already familiar with 2 out of 3 of these, the VLOOKUP formula and the if formula. So you're already 2/3 the way there. So this entire thing is what's called a nested formula. So it'll be a formula inside of a formula inside of a formula. But don't worry, I'll break it down, I'll make it simple. At the very least, I will show you a couple of features that you'll be able to use every day. It'll be really simple. So let's get started. The first formula I'd like to show you is the RAND formula. So it equals RAND, and this takes in absolutely no arguments. So you just press enter. This gives you a random number between 0 and 1. So it's a decimal number. So if you do it again, press enter, and it gives you a different number. So it's just a random number. We're not going to be using that one, but we will be using its twin brother, which is RAND between. So if you've ever said pick a number between 1 and 10, well, this is that feature. You can pick 2 numbers, the bottom one. Let's go 10, and enter, 4. So this one will give you a random number between whatever 2 numbers you specify. We'll be using that this lesson in a little bit. So let's look at the data set itself. We have Michael Scott's toy company. That's right, he's left the paper business, now he's in the toy business. And recently he's been selling Looney Tune action figures. So let's take a look at our data set, which looks pretty bad. Sometimes you'll get really bad looking data sets like this, but don't worry, we're advanced Excel users and we can handle it. Let's press Control Home. Don't forget to use our keyboard shortcuts. They'll save you a lot of time in the long run. Control Shift right arrow to select the column headers. Press Control Space to select all those columns. I'm going to right click, click column widths. Let's change that to 12 instead of 3.43. Enter. Now that looks a lot better. So let's look at the first item on Michael's to-do list. Give the most valuable customers a random sample of our new model toy. So like I said, he's been selling Looney Tune action figures, and now he has a new line of toys. They're bigger, better, have more features. But first, we need a unique list of all his toys. Press Control Home. Let's hide some of these columns just so they don't get in our way. Let's hide these columns. Right click, hide. There we go. Alright, now the first thing we need to do is get a unique list of our products. Not how many orders do we have, but how many actual products do we have? How many different kinds of toys do we have? Well, this is an easy one. Let's do this. Let's press Control Shift down, Control C for copy, Control Home to go back. Now let's put our unique list right here. Press Control V. So now we have an exact copy of this list. Let's escape. Of course, again, we have lots of duplicates. So let's do this. Let's press Control Shift down. And now let's go to the Data tab and click Remove Duplicates. Click it. Copy, yep. Okay. 1,280 duplicate values found and removed. 16 unique values remain. So that's how many unique values we have. Press enter, control up, there we go. So now this is our actual list. There are no duplicate values. How many do we have? It said 16. Let's verify that. 1, 2. Highlight these. We're going to double click to get the list. There we go, 16 values. And we're going to use this as our VLOOKUP table in just a little bit. Now it says give the most valuable customers. How can we determine who is a valuable customer? Well, let's do it based on how many orders they've made. First, let's get a ballpark of what is a big order. So what is the maximum number of... Oh, that sounds like a formula we know. Let's go equals max. Let's go over here. Control-Shift down. Close it. Enter. 50. So that is the maximum value we have of orders. So let's call a valuable customer anyone who's made more than 40 orders. Greater than or equal to 40 orders. Okay, so let's do an if formula. Equals if. Let's go this. Just using the arrow keys. If this is greater than or equal to 40, comma, if true, let's say valuable. Then if it's false, let's just leave it blank. Quotation mark, close the parenthesis, enter. So this one is valuable, it's 41. Let's go ahead and double click. There we go. So that copies it all the way down because it looks at the one to the left. It goes all the way down. So now we have all of our valuable customers here. Let's call this valuable customers. There we go. Now that we have that going for us, let's do this. Instead of saying valuable, what we could do, there's quite a few things we could do. We could put it as a number instead. 2. We could use a cell reference. Let's say valuable. Instead of 2, we could reference a cell, Q2, comes back valuable. So we can use cell references, we could use numbers, we could use text, or we could use formulas. This is what's called nesting formulas. So for this one, we're going to make a VLOOKUP formula. VLOOKUP, lookup value. Now for this one, we're going to put another formula, but we'll do that in just a little bit. For now, let's just do 5. I'll show you why I did that in a minute. Table array. Over here, Control-Shift right, down. So that's our table array. Now I want to make it a fixed reference. Now for a quick shortcut, press F4. That locks it as a fixed reference. Now let's press 2. It's a column index. It's going to go 1, 2. Bring back the second column, comma. Approximate match or exact match. We want an exact match. Let's go false. Close that, and enter. Duck Dodgers. Why did it bring back Duck Dodgers? Well, what happened is, it said, okay, if this is greater than 40, which it is, it's greater than or equal to 40, and it says, okay, yes, that's met. So if it's true, what do? I do a VLOOKUP. What's my number? It's 5. This is the table array, so it goes down here and says, oh, here's the table array. Where's number 5? Oh, there it is. Bring back the second column, Duck Dodgers. Enter. Just likewise, this one, it said if this is greater than 40, oh, it's not greater than 40, so it stops. So let me go ahead and copy this down. Click, click. There we go. So now we have a sample to give all of our valuable customers, but it's not random. It's number 5. So you might say, okay, how can we get a random sampling? Well, we can replace this 5 with the rand between. So in this slot, we're going to put numbers 1, 2, how many do we have? 16. So 1 and 16. Close it. I'm going to walk you through it in just a second. Enter it. So here's what it's doing. It says, okay, first I want to see if it's a valuable customer. Over here, 40 or more. Yes, it's 41. So now we'll do a VLOOKUP. The number I want to look up is a random number between 1 and 16. So it's okay, it gets whatever random number it is. It scrolls down, so there's the number. It goes to the second column and brings back that value. Enter, Porky Pig. Let's go down. Porky Pig, that's number 9. So apparently when it did this, it said, look up, the random number was 9, and it brought back that value. Likewise, now it's the Tasmanian Devil. So let's go ahead and copy this down. Click, click. And look at that. Now the valuable customers have a random sample of the new toys. So now we have our first item checked off. We can say check. So now that's off our list. Now see what happened once I entered something? It randomizes it again. That's kind of the random feature. So it'll just keep randomizing it. If you want to make it static, if you want to say I want to lock these as the value, you press Control-Shift down. You can Control-C for copy. Right click and go to Values, Paste Values. Press Escape. So now, these are no longer formulas, these are just values. And now you can go to your boss, Michael Scott, and say, here it is, we have a random toy to give each one of our valuable customers. Hope this was helpful. If it doesn't make sense, go back and rewatch the lesson again. When I first started learning nested formulas, it was pretty hard for me. I had to watch it multiple times, I had to practice it. And I do highly recommend downloading the workbook, working along with me, because the best way you can learn is by doing it. But if you're discouraged, if it doesn't make sense, don't worry. Just watch it again a few times. It will make sense, I promise you. And at the very least, you do know a couple of new formulas. You have your rand between. You know how to make a unique list with the remove duplicates. But don't forget to copy somewhere else. You don't want to delete all of these. Hope this was helpful, and I'll see you again in the next lesson.